Hi there, greetings everybody. I want to welcome you here to the Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show. This is a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So, we are here to do battles of the masterpiece albums. So this is a show that I've been doing now. This will be the 12th episode already. So I've been doing this show, obviously for 12 weeks. Basically, the premise of this show is that I have 61 masterpiece albums in my collection. They're personal masterpieces. These are the ones that I think of as being masterpiece albums. And I wanted to see, by re-listening to all these albums, I put them in 15 battles actually. I thought it was 16 originally, but I think it's 15. And 4 albums in each of them of my masterpieces. And to try and determine if I actually feel that same way about my nostalgic albums, or maybe I'm just fooling myself. That's basically the whole premise of this. And I put them in 4 stacks, basically the ones I think are my best, and my second best, and my third best, and my fourth. I rolled the dice, I mixed them all up and put them together. And so far, the album that I think was going to be number 1 in each of the battles originally has stood up, except for on one particular occasion. So we've got 4 more today. And what I'll do is I'll tell you who they are first, then we'll talk about each of them, and then I'll give you my ranking. So first band on the list, or the first album on the list, is Who's Next by The Who. The second album, Black Sabbath's Volume 4. Next album out, Triumph's Just a Game. And last, but certainly not least, Get the Knack by The Knack. So those are the 4 albums. And so what I'll do is I'll take each album, I'm going to talk about them a little bit, and then I'll give you a rank as to how I see them. So we'll need my glasses for this part of the episode. So the first one we're going to do them in reverse order. I just showed them. So Get the Knack by The Knack. This is an album released in 1979. Big impact on me when it came out. Played it all that summer. Absolutely adored it. The big hit, of course, My Sharona, was massive all over the place. I think this album sold like 6 million copies, or maybe just a single did. I'm not sure. But it's just such a great album. Very high energy. Very catchy riffs, fantastic vocals. The lyrics are funny and good as well. It's a new wave album, but more on the punky side than on the and the poppy side more than it is on the dance side and the electronic side. So you got probably the 3 tracks that I like the best: Let Me Out, Frustrated, and She's So Selfish. All have that, Let Me Out, Frustrated, and My Sharona all have that same kind of fast-paced, heavy poppy sound, catchy riffs and hooks. She's So Selfish, a little bit more slowed down, but a lot of that same kind of thing going on. Probably my favorite track on the album. Maybe Tonight, good track, and then Good Girls Don't, which was the other hit. I don't mind it. There isn't any song on here that I don't really like. There isn't any on here that I don't really like. Most of the stuff on here is pretty good. Heartbeat, maybe the worst song on the album. It's not a great song, but it's not a bad song. But this is a band with a lot of heavy energy. They're much better instrumentally talented than people give them credit for. Drummer's very good. Guitarist, fantastic. Some of the iconic solos from both of them, or iconic riffs from both of them, are great. So this was the first album out of the boot. Get the Knack by The Knack, their debut album from 1979. Next album out, coincidentally, also from 1979. This is Triumph's 3rd studio album, Just a Game. I love the album cover. I'm going to pull it out so you can see the whole thing. Absolutely killer. Probably one of the best covers that they put out, although they've put out some pretty fantastic covers, trust me. One of the best bands with best covers of anybody I've seen. I love this album. It's has a long history with me. For about 35 years, it was my favorite album. Fell out of the first place by another band and another album, but that was about 5 years ago. I think largely because I was playing it all the time and I just burned it right out. I did listen to it yesterday. Great album. I really appreciate Gilmour's vocal ability much more than I did originally. It was all Rick Emmett, and then now it's pretty much all Gilmour. He's got a style of vocals that suit these songs perfectly. Lots of bluesy elements. The thing I like best about this album is its variety. So you got a lot of kind of bluesy, heavy bluesy tracks, some hard rockin' tracks. You got some stuff that's mainstream poppy sounding. You've got some absolutely killer kind of, I would call it prog. A couple songs on here got a very proggy feel to them. You've got some acoustic classical sounds here as well. Yeah, it's just a great album. It's got everything you want. There's only the one track really that I've never really, and initially it was my favorite track too, but since that time it's really not held up well for me, and that's American Girls. Kind of corny, cheesy. I would say the word cheesy a bit. Guitaring is fantastic though, and the riffs are fantastic. Just the lyrics are a little bit on the cheesy side. Moving on, great opening. Love My Cowbell. Nothing does it better on this track than that. This is one of my favorite songs by Triumph. I think Gilmour's voice is fantastic on this. He just makes you want to sing along, and that's what to me is a great vocalist. Lay It on the Line, of course, along with Hold On, are both the big tracks on the album that did very well in the radio. Hold On initially, I think, was the bigger of the two tracks, but hasn't really stood the test of time as well as Lay It on the Line, which seems to be the perennial favorite on this album. Young Enough to Cry, for a long time, this was my favorite track on here. Gilmour's bluesy kind of almost raspy voice at times, fantastic. I love it. Just the Game, probably perennially my favorite song on the album. I listened to it yesterday. It was fantastic. I still love it. It's got this kind of haunting feeling to it. When I hear this song, it brings me back to so many different memories along the course of my life, and I just really appreciate it. Fantasy Serenade, of course, is the classical guitar bit, and he does well with this classical guitar, much better than people would probably give him credit for, but I think he's great. And then you've got the final track here that I want to talk about, which is Suitcase Blues. This, for a long time, was one of my favorite tracks to sing. Great, absolutely killer song, Suitcase Blues. Now, next album up, Sabbath. Black Sabbath's Volume 4. This is their fourth studio album. I believe this was released in 72. 10 tracks in total. You got a lot of different sounds on this album too, which I think is one of the reasons why it's one of my favorite Sabbath songs. You've got your really heavy songs like Supernaut and Wheels of Confusion. Where is it? Cornucopia. These are heavy tracks. You've got Laguna Sunrise, a little bit of a classical bit as well. You've got Tomorrow's Dream. To me, has one of the best hooks, catchy riff, heavy song. One of my favorites from all time on this. Snowblind, great. Cornucopia, I already mentioned that one. St. Vitus, really good. And Under the Sun, Everybody Does Comes and Goes. That's a different type of track too. Changes. It's almost Sabbath's attempt to do a kind of ballad. It's kind of funny. I do like it. It's catchy to sing, maybe not so catchy to listen to, but still a great album by them, showing off that they were not just a heavy metal band. And last but not least, Who's Next? Probably my favorite Who album. Not sure yet. I just got Quadrophenia. I know that's hard to believe after all these years. I've had all these Who albums. I love the Who. I've been following them forever. But for whatever reason, I just never have been in the right place to get Quadrophenia. I did get it. It's going to be in the, you'll get to see it when I do the album choice, the new albums that I purchased. At least I think it's in this one. It might have been in last month's, actually. I'm not sure. I'd have to go and look. Anyways, great album, this one. You've got some big classics on this album. Baba O'Reilly, Behind Blue Eyes, and Won't Get Fooled Again. These are the big classics. Everybody knows these songs. If they know the Who, these are among the 3 songs they're going to know. Baba O'Reilly, probably my favorite of the 3. It's an emotional track. Very definitely a kind of mainstream type Who song. This is a absolute Who classic. Behind Blue Eyes, great vocals here. One of my favorite Roger Daltrey sung songs. He's absolutely bang on the money here. Won't Get Fooled Again, that's the big kind of anthem-y song that everybody knows. It was all over MTV when MTV first came out. People doing all kinds of strange things. People doing air drumming and air guitaring and all that kind of stuff was going on. Won't Get Fooled Again, always near the end of their set list. A big, monstrous onstage track. But you get some of the deep cuts here. Bargain, great tune. Love Ain't For Keeping. Yeah, I love that track. Just absolutely good. John Entwistle's My Wife. This is a kind of a quirky track, but he usually does this or Boris the Spider when they're singing, but this is one of the better ones too. Going Mobile, great track. The song is over. Yeah, killer track. Getting in Tune. This is kind of a bit of a different song for them, but I do like it. It kind of has it's a little bit of an upbeat tempo to it. And then you've got the last one here, Going Mobile, which I think is one of the most underrated Who tracks in history. Most people know it when they hear it, but they don't know that that's what it's called. Okay, so now I got to rank them. Wasn't actually as hard as I thought. The bottom 2 were probably the most difficult of the 2 to decide on. Yeah. Anyways, I'm going to get my list over here just to make sure I don't screw it up, which is something I do quite often here. Of course, I don't have the list in front of me. I tend to, what I like to do, for those of you who know me, is I'll listen to the album and give it a number. And then I go back and listen to it and see if the number is exactly the way I felt about it, or is it, maybe I just happened to catch it on a good moment or on a bad moment, right? So anyways, in ranking these ones, this wasn't as hard a list to rank as some of the others. The one that won it wasn't too difficult. The others were all fairly close as well. So the number 2 or the number 4 one, I decided for today, anyways, was Volume 4. It didn't hit me as well listening to it. Maybe the production hurt it a bit, maybe. Or maybe I just wasn't in the mood for this particular album on that particular day. But it didn't do as well as the other ones, so it ended up in 4th. Number 3 was a battle between the 2nd and 3rd place album. So I ended up giving this album just 3rd, but was nudged out. Maybe because I listened to it a lot in the last couple of years and it kind of burned it out a bit. So it's going to move down here to 3rd spot. Get the Knack by the Knack. Next up is The Who's 1971. Who Are You? Is nudged out the Knack only because I think it's for the nostalgic reason, which was the thing I was trying to avoid in this, but I still think it nudged it out for that reason. That and the fact that Roger Daltrey's voice is absolutely the best. And then this one easily wasn't even really that close. Hadn't listened to it for a couple of years, which is probably the longest period of time that I haven't listened to this album. Triumph's Just a Game. But I was invigorated when I listened to it. The first 4 tracks really got me going, and the last 4 tracks were good as well. Yeah, strong album. Really the only weak track here is probably American Girls, but it's going to win today. fairly easily and go on to the semifinals. So just a game from Triumph wins it all today. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Battle of the Masterpiece Albums. If you want to rank them according to how you like them, you can do that as well. If you just want to comment on them, you can do that. So don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. And we'll be back next week for Battle of the Masterpiece Albums number 13. And I hope to see you then. So take care and have a good one. Goodbye.